Today we're looking at 20 real estate exam questions on planning and zoning. Hope you do well on these. These are fairly common on the test. So if you enjoyed this content, please give us a thumbs up. Also subscribe, hit the notification button so you don't miss a video. And also one other thing, our channel has hundreds of questions. So go visit our channel and look at the other videos. Okay, here we go. What is the primary purpose of zoning laws in real estate? A, to regulate property taxes. B, to restrict property development. C, to provide access to public utilities. D, to ensure public safety and orderly development. D, to ensure public safety and orderly development. Zoning laws regulate land use to promote public safety, orderly development, and the general welfare of the community. Which of the following is typically regulated by zoning ordinances? A, property ownership. B, property taxes. C, building heights and setbacks. D, property insurance. C, building heights and setbacks. Zoning ordinances typically regulate various aspects of property use, such as building heights, setbacks, density, and land use. What is the purpose of a comprehensive plan in urban planning? A, to provide guidelines for property taxation. B, to establish property boundaries. C, to outline long-term goals and strategies for land use. D, to set rental rates for residential properties. C, to outline long-term goals and strategies for land use. A comprehensive plan sets forth long-term goals and strategies for land use, development, transportation, and infrastructure within a community. Which of the following is a characteristic of a residential zoning district? A, allows for commercial activities. B, permits high-density housing. C, typically includes single-family homes. D, has no restriction on building heights. C, typically includes single-family homes. Residential zoning districts primarily include areas designated for single-family homes with restrictions on commercial activities and building types. What is the purpose of setback requirements in zoning regulations? A, to determine property boundaries. B, to prevent overdevelopment and provide open space. C, to establish minimum lot size. D, to regulate property insurance rates. To prevent overdevelopment and provide open space. Setback requirements establish minimum distances that buildings must be set back from property lines, roads, or other structures to prevent overdevelopment and provide open space. What does the term mixed-use zoning refer to? A, zoning that allows for a mix of residential and commercial activities. B, zoning that prohibits any commercial activities. C, zoning that restricts all development to single-family homes. D, zoning that permits only industrial activities. A, zoning that allows for a mix of residential and commercial activities. Mixed zoning or mixed-use zoning allows for the development of both residential and commercial properties within the same area. Before we go on, go ahead and hit that like button if you like this type of content. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit the notification button so you don't miss a video. And also check out our channel after this video to see a lot more questions. How does a zoning variance differ from a rezoning request? A zoning variance allows for temporary change in land use, while rezoning permanently changes land use. B, a zoning variance permanently changes land use, while rezoning allows for a temporary change. C, a zoning variance requires approval for neighboring property owners, while rezoning does not. D, a zoning variance is granted by a zoning board, while rezoning is provided or approved by local government authorities. A zoning variance allows for a temporary change in land use, while rezoning permanently changes land use. A zoning variance is a temporary exemption or exception to zoning regulations for a specific property, while rezoning permanently changes the zoning designation for an entire area. What is the purpose of a zoning board of appeals? A, to enforce zoning ordinances. B, to review and decide on requests for variances or exceptions to zoning regulations. C, to create comprehensive plans for land use. D, to collect property taxes. B, to review and decide on requests for variances or exceptions for zoning regulations. Zoning boards of appeals review requests for variances, exceptions, or appeals related to zoning regulations and make decisions based on the merits of each case. What is a buffer zone in urban planning? A zone designated for industrial activities. B, a transitional area between two different land uses. C, a zone with no building height restrictions. D, a designated area for public parks. B, a transitional area between two different land uses. A buffer zone is an area of land that serves as a transitional zone between two distinct land uses, such as residential and industrial areas. What is spot zoning? A, zoning that allows for a mix of residential and commercial activities. B, zoning that restricts all development to single-family homes. C, zoning that permits only industrial activities. D, zoning that singles out a small area for a use different from the surrounding area. D, zoning that singles out a small area for a use different from the surrounding area. Spot zoning occurs when a small parcel of land is given a zoning classification that differs from the surrounding area, typically to benefit a specific property owner. What is the primary objective of zoning ordinances? A, to regulate property insurance rates. B, to ensure fair property taxation. C, to protect property values and promote orderly development. D, to determine property boundaries. C, to protect property values and promote orderly development. Zoning ordinances are designed to protect property values, promote orderly development, and safeguard the health, safety, and welfare of the community. What does R1 zoning typically designate? A, mixed-use zoning. B, commercial zoning, C, single-family residential zoning, D, industrial zoning. C, single-family residential zoning. R1 zoning typically designates areas for single-family residential use with restrictions on other types of development. What is the purpose of a conditional use permit in zoning regulations? A, to allow a property owner to build without following zoning requirements. B, to temporarily suspend zoning regulations for a specific property. C, to grant permission for a land use that is not permitted by right in a zoning district. D, to prevent any development on a particular property. C, to grant permission for a land use that is not permitted by right in a zoning district. Conditional use permits allow for specific land uses that may not be permitted by right in a particular zoning district, subject to certain conditions and limitations. How does zoning affect property values? A, zoning has no impact on property values. B, zoning typically increases property values by promoting orderly development and protecting property rights. C, zoning decreases property values by restricting development opportunities. D, zoning leads to unpredictable fluctuations in property values. B, zoning typically increases property values by promoting orderly development and protecting property rights. Zoning regulations that promote orderly development, protect property rights, and maintain neighborhood character often result in increased property values. Which entity is responsible for creating and enforcing zoning regulations? A, state government. B, federal government. C, local government. D, private homeowners associations. C, local government. Zoning regulations are typically established and enforced by local government authorities such as city councils or zoning boards. What is the purpose of an overlay zoning district? A, to restrict all development within a designated area. B, to encourage mixed-use development. C, to provide additional zoning regulations for specific areas within a community. D, to eliminate all zoning regulations. C, to provide additional zoning regulations for specific areas within a community. Overlay zoning districts apply additional zoning regulations or design standards to specific areas within a community, such as historic districts or floodplains. What is the primary purpose of a setback requirements in zoning regulations? A, to establish property boundaries. B, to prevent overdevelopment and provide open space. C, to regulate property insurance rates. D, to determine property taxes. To prevent overdevelopment and provide open space. Setback requirements establish minimum distances that buildings must be set back from property lines, roads, or other structures to prevent overdevelopment and provide open space. Which of the following is an example of a zoning restriction aimed at protecting the environment? A, limiting building heights. B, requiring setbacks from water bodies, Z, regulating property taxes, D, establishing rental rates. B, requiring setbacks from water bodies. Requiring setbacks from water bodies is a zoning restriction aimed at protecting the environment by preventing erosion, preserving wildlife habitat, and maintaining water quality. What is the purpose of a zoning map? A, to establish property boundaries, B, to determine property taxes, C, to identify the zoning classification of different areas within a community, D, to create comprehensive plans for land use. C, to identify the zoning classification of different areas within a community. A zoning map visually displays the zoning classification of different areas within a community, indicating permitted land uses, density, setbacks, and other regulations. Well, I hope you enjoyed this content. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up, ask any questions in the comments, hit the notification button. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button as well. And also check out our channel. We're there to help you pass your real estate license exam. I hope you enjoyed our content. Have a great day.